In the 2023-2024 NBA season, the Minnesota Timberwolves were on the brink of something special. Behind Anthony Edwards' rise as an MVP caliber player and Karl Anthony Towns' a consistent all-around dominance, they achieved their best postseason run in decades, reaching the Western Conference Finals for the first time. Timberwolves fans believed their team could contend for a title, but all the promise came crashing down in one shocking offseason move. When the Timberwolves traded Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo, it sent shockwaves throughout the NBA world. Towns didn't even request a trade. He was content as Edwards' sidekick and was widely seen as the perfect complement to the young star. Their combination of Edwards' explosive scoring and Towns' elite shooting and versatility had turned the Minnesota into legit contenders. But in a move that many analysts saw as short-sighted, Timberwolves management decided to send Towns packing. The reasoning: a combination of financial constraint under the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement and a belief that Edwards was ready to shoulder an even bigger load. To replace Cat, the Timberwolves brought in Julius Randle, a player known for his streaky shooting ball-dominant style and defensive limitations, and Donte DiVincenzo, who just came off averaging 15 points per game last season and being one of the main options in the playoffs for the Knicks. Many hoped Edwards could elevate his game further to make up the difference, but as the season has shown, the loss of Towns has proven far more damaging than anyone could have anticipated. One of his most known aspects of Karl Anthony Towns' game was his ability to create space. As a big man with a career three-point shooting percentage of nearly 40%, Cat's presence stretched defenses to their limits, opening up lanes for Anthony Edwards to attack. Without Towns, defenses have been able to collapse on Edwards, clogging the paint and forcing him into tougher, lower percentage shots, which is why he's shooting the most threes ever in his career. The results speak for themselves. After a 56-win season, the Timberwolves have stumbled out of the gate with a 9-10 record, losing 7 out of their last 10 games. Minnesota's crunch time struggles have been glaring. In a recent loss to the Sacramento Kings, the Timberwolves were outscored by 17 points in the final 5 minutes. This isn't just about missing Towns scoring. The team hasn't clicked as well without Cat, and they seem to have lost their defensive identity. Anthony Edwards has said, "We're just so negative right now. Last couple years, we was like this. And I feel like we are just gradually growing away from each other. It's crazy because most of us have been together for a long time." Anthony Edwards' frustration is understandable. The Timberwolves were once a united, tightly knit team, but the trade has disrupted their chemistry. Towns wasn't just a statistical contributor, he was a glue guy, a player who made his teammates better by creating opportunities for everyone on the floor. By contrast, Julius Randle's playstyle has only made the team's struggles more known. For being a high-usage player, Randle's tendency to dominate the ball has thrown off the Timberwolves' offensive flow. Edwards, at just 23 years old, is now shouldering an even heavier burden, both as a scorer and as a leader, a role he's still learning to navigate. The impact of Towns' absence isn't limited to Edwards. Rudy Gobert, the Timberwolves' defensive anchor, has also seen his game suffer. Without Towns to stretch the floor and take pressure off him, Gobert has somehow got worse on offense. Last season, Gobert thrived as a lob threat and a rebounder, taking advantage of space Towns created. Now it's harder for Gobert to even get easy buckets, making it harder for him to contribute effectively. This results a Timberwolves team that looks disjointed on both ends of the floor. While the Timberwolves have struggled, the New York Knicks have reaped the benefits of the trade. Karl Anthony Towns is seemingly integrated into a roster built around Jalen Brunson and the cast of versatile defenders. With Towns providing elite shooting and secondary scoring, the defense has climbed a 10-8 record, showing flashes of a team that could make noise in the playoffs. The Timberwolves are scrambling to regain theirs. Cat is having one of his best starts to the season. He seems to be a number one option at times alongside Jalen Brunson. They are both averaging 26 points, and his spacing is being really crucial to the squad. He so far has a career high in points and rebounds with 12.7. Meanwhile, Donte DiVincenzo is struggling only at 9 points, not adding much to the team. Julius Randle is more ball dominant, unlike Cat, which seems to be more of a problem, and there is less spacing. Julius Randle is averaging 21.7 points this season and is playing fairly solid for expectations, but they're still sitting 12th in the West. Anthony Edwards said, "I think we're just soft as heck. As a team internally, we can't talk to each other, just a bunch of little kids. We gotta figure it out because we can't go down this road." Edwards' candid remarks highlight the deeper issues plaguing the Timberwolves. Beyond the X's and O's, the team's culture has taken a hit. Towns was a vocal presence in the locker room, someone who brought the team together during tough times. Without him, Edwards is left to fill the void, a daunting task for a young player still growing into his role. as the face of the franchise. It's surprising that Edwards thinks this team is soft, because Karl Anthony Towns was considered the softest player on the Timberwolves last season, so you'd expect them to be tough now. And they got Randall, who as a rookie even won against Kevin Garnett, and Kobe said he got that dog in him. The Timberwolves' decision to trade Karl Anthony Towns was a gamble, one that so far hasn't paid off. While the team hoped Edwards would carry the load, the loss of Cat, unique skill set, and leadership has left a void that Julius Randle and the current roster can't fill. At just 23 years old, Edwards is doing everything he can to learn to keep the team afloat. But the question remains, will the Timberwolves find a way to rebuild their chemistry and salvage their season, or will this trade doom them to mediocre? For a franchise that seemed to finally have turned the corner, the decision to trade Karl Anthony Towns might go down as one of the most costly mistakes in Timberwolves history. They were young and doing good, but financial reasons scared them. As Anthony Edwards continues to rise, only can wonder what could have happened if Minnesota had kept its dynamic duo intact. The Timberwolves' struggles have sparked intense debate about the franchise's direction. Fans, once hopeful, are now questioning the front office's long-term vision. Was the trade part of a larger plan to build around Edwards, or was it a hastily driven move by financial constraints? Within the season slipping away, Minnesota's management faces mounting pressure to address their roster's glaring weakness. One option the Timberwolves could explore is doubling down on their win-now approach. Trade rumors have now linked Minnesota to several potential upgrades, including versatile wings and sharpshooters to restore their spacing. But making their splashy move comes with risk, especially when their future draft capital has already been depleted by the Rudy Gobert trade. Alternatively, the Timberwolves could pivot and focus on a larger, building a younger, more sustainable core around Anthony Edwards. This path requires tough decisions like moving on from veterans or rethinking Gobert's role, but it will allow Edwards to grow alongside a group tailored to his strengths. Edwards' resolve gives this Timberwolves a glimmer of hope. Despite the team's challenges, Edwards' leadership and determination remains the franchise's brightest light. The question now is whether Minnesota's front office can make the right moves to turn the season around, or this turbulent chapter will mark the beginning of another rebuild. As the Timberwolves navigate their crossroads, one thing is clear: the stakes have never been higher. For a franchise that has spent decades searching for success, the clock is ticking to ensure Anthony Edwards' prime years don't slip away. Only time will tell if they can rise from this setback, or this trade will define their legacy.